Mr. T here again with a tutorial on adding and subtracting rational expressions. Key thing when we're adding fractions is that we must have a common denominator. If we don't have a common denominator, then we need to create one. Once we have the common denominators created, we add or subtract the tops, the numerators, and we just keep the bottom as the common denominator. And then at the end we may need to simplify. So if we look at our first problem here, we already have common denominators, so we add across the top. And now we simplify. So 12 and 8 are both divisible by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So a fairly simple problem. Likewise, when we have x's, we here have a common denominator. So we add across the top and put our common denominator. Now, to determine whether or not we can simplify this, we need to factor the bottom. The bottom factors into x plus 2 and x minus 2. It's a difference of 2 squares. And now we can see that we can cancel the x plus 2, and our final answer would be 1 over x minus 2. Okay, so these already had common denominators, and we just had to work the process. So the next couple problems that we have, we will need to create the common denominators. So let's look at our problem here. I like to think of common denominators about maybe it's two neighborhood guys that are competitive, and they need to make sure the other guy doesn't outdo what they want. So whatever neighbor A, let's call him Richie here, has, Bobby over here needs to have the same thing, and whatever Bobby has, Richie needs to have the same thing. So to see what Richie has here, we can factor our bottom, and we can see that Richie has a 2 and a 3. And over here, this was, I think, Bobby, and he has a 2 times a 2 times a 2. So he has 3 2's. So both Richie and Bobby have in common one set of 2's, but Bobby over here doesn't have a 3. So we can create a 3 over here by multiplying the top and the bottom by the same fraction. And we're missing these two 2's over here, so we're missing a 4 over here for Richie. So Richie's going to go out and buy some 4's. So now on the top we have here 20. In the bottom we have 4 times 2 times 3, that's 24, which is our common denominator. And here we have 9 over 24, and we add across and get 29 24ths, and that cannot be simplified. Now many of you would have known that 24 is a common denominator for 6 and 8. That's the smallest number that both 6 and 8 divide into. But when we get in with the x's, it may not be quite so easy to see. So again, if we go to our second problem here, if we look at the constant parts, we've got a 2 and a 4. So the common denominator between a 2 and a 4 would be 4. So we need to multiply this fraction by 2 over 2. And we're missing this x over here, so I need to multiply this fraction by x over x. So if we multiply this fraction, we have 10 over 4x. And we're going to have here 3x plus 4x. I'm sorry, 3x over 4x. So if we add and arrange in standard form, we put the x's first. So we have 3x plus 10. We can't combine those. They're not like terms. Over 4x. Now we can't simplify here. We can't cancel x's, and we can't simplify the 4's because of an addition. We can only do canceling when the numerator and denominator terms are multiplication. Let's look at our next final two examples. Okay, here we have a subtraction problem, so let's look at that. As our first step, let's get a factoring of our denominators so that we can determine our common denominator. And this one factors into x minus 3 times x plus 2. So we can see that both have the x minus 3 in common. So we need to multiply the first fraction by the x plus 2. And remember, we have to multiply top and bottom by the same fraction. We have subtraction here. Now we have our 4, and we're missing the x plus 1 from over here, so we're going to multiply top and bottom by x plus 1. So now we have the same factors in the bottom. Now we need to pay close attention to this subtraction here. Many of you will make mistakes on not distributing that properly, so I'm going to turn this into addition by changing that to minus. So adding a minus is the same thing as subtracting a positive. So at the top now we are going to distribute, so we're going to have x squared plus 2x. Now we have minus 4x and minus 4 all over our common denominator here. I'm just going to put that in as a big parentheses to begin with. And now if we combine like terms on the top, we've got x squared plus, or I'm sorry, minus minus 4, which will not factor, and it's over our common denominator of x minus 3 times x plus 1 times x plus 2. So now let's look at our final problem. Let me change colors so we can keep the problem separately. So let's again factor here. So we've got x 36 is 9 and 4, so we have minus 9 and x plus 4. We both have the x plus 4, so this fraction is not missing anything. This guy is missing the x minus 9. So here we have on the top 18x plus, and now here we've got 2x times x is 2x squared, and 2x times negative 9 is negative 18x, all over x minus 9 times x plus 4. When we combine like terms on the top, those cancel out, and our final answer is 2x squared over x minus 9 and x plus 4. So again, as you can see, it's not that difficult to figure out our common denominators. Just have the denominators in factored form, and if they have factors already in common, we don't need to adjust those, but any factors that they have that are different, we need to add those factors by multiplying by a factor over itself to the other fraction. Hope this helps, and see you around town.